I want to share my story, how I escaped Canada, the secrets, the tricks, the tips, whatever it took to get out. I'm here in Paraguay, and I'll take you on a bit of a walking tour in a minute, but I just want to get a few things out. If you don't know me, my name is Rich+. I'm 41 years old, married with 2 kids. I left Canada in like 2021 to go to Mexico. First sort of time to kind of leave Canada. Before that, I had traveled a decent amount, kind of like a digital nomad. I've been working remotely for quite a while. I'll talk about that in a bit. But I've been trying to leave Canada for a while. I just find it's ridiculously overpriced for what you get. I think it used to be amazing, maybe in the 90s and maybe early 2000s, it was not so bad. But ever since we had the Olympics in 2010, it was really downhill. I was born and raised just outside of Vancouver, British Columbia. And I went to school there, went to university there. Most of my life growing up, I didn't see a clear future. I wasn't really impressed with the outlook of life. And I was struggling to find a pathway to try and find purpose and fulfillment and all that sort of things. I'm not quite someone who does the status quo. I like to forge my own path. And I think that's kind of why I'm, out here in Latin America. But more on escaping Canada, I don't know what's the percentage of, immigrants right now, but it's got to be like 20 to 30% in the last decade. It's a huge increase of foreign workers, temporary work permits. They're giving out citizenship like candy. It's really changed. It's not very Canada. A lot has changed. I don't think it's as safe anymore. The home I grew up in has been broken into and burglarized. My father has had to install a bunch of cameras and security in his house. There's been multiple attempts in break-in. I think there's more violence and theft and crime in general. And in 2021, 2022, a lot of good businesses went out of business. We're stuck with the Walmarts, the fast food, the lame shopping malls. There's not a lot to say good about Canada right now from my point of view. I moved out, I'm 41, so I moved out of my home like many, many years ago. I've been living and renting in Vancouver, and I remember like my first place outside of Vancouver was like 1,200, 1,100, and then I moved into Vancouver. The first place was 1,525, the next place was 1,800, the next place was 2,025, and I never had like more than a one-bedroom. A lot of times I had a studio, I was okay with that. And it was around like 2017, 2018 when I was like, I want to move from Vancouver. Like the value I'm getting out of the city has declined. I don't know if you know this, but pretty close in Vancouver where I was living is called Hastings. I was living in Chinatown, but just a couple blocks away, you've got the densest intravenous drug use area in the world, really out of control. And government doesn't care. They don't do anything. It's its own population. It has like its own marketplace. You can't go there. It's very scary for the average person. It looks like a crazy area. And the city value has gone way downhill, right? It used to be cool to live in the city. Now it's cool to be more rural, remote. But what are you going to do? Be in a suburb? Like nothing to do. It's very difficult in Canada because there's nothing interesting in the suburbs. You don't have this like kind of hodgepodge world of housing mixed with city, mixed with stores. And like here in Paraguay, everything is more mixed. There's something on every block. It's much more interesting. But again, I'll get back to that later. We'll do a little walking tour. Give me 5 more minutes to talk about Canada and escaping. So I escaped Canada, went to Mexico, wasn't really impressed, was about to get residency there. It wasn't feeling cheap. Like the cost of Mexico was going up quickly. So the value, didn't really feel it. I wasn't sure about it. I wasn't speaking Spanish at the time. I was going to more like the Puerto Vallarta region. I kind of went near there. It was all right, but it wasn't cheap in my point of view. But then I actually moved to Eastern Europe. I moved to Serbia for like a year, and that was really awesome. I really enjoyed Serbia. Amazing things to say about Serbia. It gave me the chance to visit Greece, Croatia, Bosnia, Macedonia. I got to see a lot of interesting places in Eastern Europe. And just so you know, I've also lived in Hong Kong, been to Japan, been to Thailand, been to Taiwan, been to Bali. I've seen a lot of these places. And I'll just tell you right now, Paraguay is excellent. Anybody could be happy here. And the cost of living here is cheaper than almost any of those places I listed earlier. Like, people are very happy here on $1,000 to $2,000 a month. Personally, I'm living like a king here. I have a good, steady remote income. I have 2 kids. We eat as much steak as we want. We can go to restaurants whenever we want. We have a very nice home, and we probably spend like $4,000 or $5,000 a month. And escaping Canada has really been a good choice. I left this time to come to Paraguay about 5 or 6 months ago. This is one of the fastest growing places right now. Asuncion, the main city in Paraguay, probably like 4 to 6 million people or something like that. I think 20,000 expats came in last year. This year, probably about 40,000, whether they're coming from Argentina, from North America. Paraguay is a great place because it's very tax friendly. If you have a business here, it's flat 10%. And if all your income is foreign, which a lot of online businesses are, it's zero tax. And that's really one of the first reasons that drew my attention to Paraguay, was the low tax. And everything you buy here, what the price says is the price. There's no 10%, 12%, 7%, no GST, HST. What you pay is what you see. And people don't realize how much that tax is really eating away at you day to day. Every time you buy coffee, every time you buy a toy for your kid, every time you buy a notebook, gas, whatever, everything has tax on it, and it's really eating away at people. And like I was saying, the cost of rent, $2,000, $3,000 these days for a 2-bedroom home if you have a family, it's just really unreasonable for most people. So I want to just share a bit more about the secrets, the tips, whatever I can that I actually did that helped me get out of Canada and make it to Paraguay. First and foremost, I have been focused on generating a remote income for at least 7 or 8 years now. Even though I have a law degree, even though I'm educated in Canada, there was a lot of dead ends there. Flat wages with increasing cost of living. I decided the best thing for me would be to start my own business where I can earn money online, and then what that allows you to do when you're remote capable, it allows you to move. So I left Vancouver and I moved out of Vancouver to another place, a more rural place. And it wasn't exactly cheaper. In the end, I learned, it was a nice place, but, what it didn't have was all the endless entertainment, distractions, things just waste your money on, going out to these restaurants and bars and buying this and that, shopping. It was a little bit of a slower lifestyle, but it still wasn't affordable enough. So getting a remote income is step number 1, because that allows you to choose a new city in your country. If you don't want to leave, that's fine. But if you can leave, it gives you that option, right? So I was working, first I'm getting $1,000 a month remote, then $2,000 a month remote, then $5,000 a month remote, then $10,000 a month remote, and maybe even a little bit beyond that. You absolutely need to focus on getting a remote job or remote income. If you don't have that, you're absolutely stuck. Just to be clear, for me, my remote income, how I earn my remote income is I am what you call a freelance marketer. You could call a freelance digital marketer. You could call me a consultant. You could call me a virtual assistant. I help businesses make social media content. I help businesses edit videos, make little graphics. I help businesses set up their website. And I also now help businesses run ads on Facebook and Instagram and Google search. And so this work is 100% remote. Nobody expects me to be in the office, and they prefer that. They prefer that because they don't have to give me a desk, they don't have to give me a computer, they don't have to pay for my utility usage. And what I charge them is less than what they'd have a full-time employee, but I'm doing more for them than that full-time employee would actually do. So what I provide people is very valuable. And so I only have to work with 3, 4, 5 clients, if that, easily have a 6-figure income. Easily. People will happily pay $2,000 a month for what I'm offering them, because their alternative is to pay, someone $50,000 a year plus expenses, healthcare, medical, utilities, computer, problems in the workspace. It's a lot more affordable to work with a freelancer now, and a lot of businesses are starting to go that way. So point is, I'm getting like this success as a freelance marketer. I've been fully remote, and I said, you know what? Let me move to a place with better weather, a more homogenous culture, a better cost of living, lower taxes, a place where I feel comfortable putting my kids in school. Overall, I'm thinking, hey, how can I say no to this? How can I say that I should stay in Canada and pay what I was paying? But the point I really wanted to make was the cost of living here is like half or less than Canada. And there's no taxes on my income, and there's no taxes on my purchases. So when you add that up, I can almost buy 3 times as much as I can buy in Canada. Like in Canada, me and my wife were saying, well, how often can we afford to buy beef? How often can we afford to go out to eat? What can we do? We're paying $3,000 for our home. You know, we're paying $150 at the grocery store. We're barely getting anything. You know, how can we even afford good vegetables? You know, here, I just bought 4 steaks for like $7, and they were good. They were better than Canadian steaks. You know, you go to restaurants with your family, you're maybe spending $20, $30. The best restaurants in town, you're spending like $75 for like a premium steak, premium restaurant. A buffet, the best buffet in the town, like $25 a person. So the cost of living is way less. I'm renting a brand new townhouse, spacious, 2-bedroom garage, nice deck with a built-in grill, brand new granite countertop, nice kitchen. Guess how much it is? Guess, think about how much that would be in Canada. It's 800 Canadian. I paid 6 months up front. What was it, like 3,000 US bucks or something like that? Just gave them the cash, 6 months. That's like almost just a bit more than 1 month in Canada. Now, the one thing that isn't cheaper here is if you try to import American goods or Canadian goods too. Imports have some importation taxes on it. They want you to buy locally, but Paraguay has amazing shopping. The malls are very nice. There is everything you'd need. They even have like Apple stores, you know, secondary market Apple stores, everything you need if you want. Clothes, a lot of selection, goods, foods, herbs, ingredients, seeds, all of that. They got nice, decent farmers markets. I order kombucha every week, get 4 liters delivered to my house. Oh yeah, the service in Paraguay is amazing. Everything is done on WhatsApp, so you don't have to worry if you don't speak Spanish. You don't have to call people. Everything is done on WhatsApp. So if you have trouble speaking the language, you can just do a translation back and forth, screenshot it or copy paste it to the translator. So here I am, 6 months into my journey. I've already acquired my residency. I'm an official temporary resident. I have a driver's license. No plan to go back to Canada. And again, I was saying that you need the remote income first, and then you can look into getting a residency. Getting a residency was so easy. Hire a lawyer, $2,000. They literally hold your hand through the whole process. You don't have to read one document. You just sign. In 90 days, I had everything I asked for, perfectly done, kind service. You just have to go to the government offices twice. Super simple process. All you have to do in Canada is get a criminal record check, get your birth certificate. You need to get those apostilled. They have to be official for Paraguay. Send them to idocscanada.ca or whatever it is. Get it back. And within 6 months, those documents need to be brought to Paraguay. If you expire those documents after 6 months, Paraguay won't accept them. So you need to do that relatively quickly. But you could just come down here for a few days, get your residency, and go back if you need to deal with it. But you should get your residency sooner than later because it could change. It could get more difficult. More people are coming. And if you're worried about things like finding a home or whatnot, don't. It's plentiful options. Like in Canada, you're fighting for a good rental. Here, so many options. And I'm even looking at getting a second apartment dedicated to my work, my office, because I found studio apartments. They're only like 200 Canadian a month, 300 Canadian a month. You get a pool, a gym, you know, decent studio. You can even get a 1-bedroom for 300 a month in a pretty much a brand new building. There's a lot of new buildings. They anticipate a lot of people coming in. I think I've spoken enough. Why don't we take a bit of a walk, finish off this video walking through a bit of Paraguay and just show you kind of the scenes how it's such a beautiful area. Like, you can hear birds here. There's still birds here. There's beautiful birds here everywhere. And a lot of lush areas. So I'm gonna stop this clip. I'm gonna go dual cam. So here I was sitting at this little cute little patio. Let's turn this around and go for a little walk. I did come down a pretty quiet street. We're gonna end up hitting some traffic, but just looking around, you know, some places look a little bit old and run down, but you know, across the street, you've got a mansion, you know. But I'm in the city right now, guys. I'm just 2 blocks away from like the main road. It's peaceful out here. And look at these sidewalks. Perfectly good. Not every sidewalk in Paraguay is perfect, but people say it's not walkable. It's silly. This is a beautiful country. And I gotta tell you guys, the people, so nice. Uber drivers, happy, not grumpy. Uber rides, I just took a 30-minute Uber ride to drop my kids at school today. And 30 minutes, it's trafficy this morning. There's a lot of traffic here, gotta admit that, but that's not something I really worry about right now. I am coming to bring my kids to a very good preschool where it's half English, half Spanish. But it was $5, 5 Canadian dollars, 3 American dollars, something like that. Uber is so cheap. And it's just all relative, right? Like, here in the city, people make okay money. They work hard. There's a lot of food delivery jobs. You can see one right there, a little Pedidos bag. And, you know, if you look up the average salary in Paraguay, it's going to tell you something like $300. That's Paraguay. You know, you can't ask a country's average salary in the main city. In the main city, there's a lot of banks. There's a lot of, see, which way should I go here? I should go this way. There's a lot of banks. There's a little cafe over there. There's a lot of tech stores. The one thing you got to make sure is when you cross the road, you got to be safe. You got to be safe. I'm not really watching the camera right now, guys. I'm trying to stay alive. That's probably the worst thing about Paraguay, crossing the road. Literally, that's the worst thing about it, is crossing the road. There's a little cute cafe. We got some shopping here. You got to do the shopping at the malls. They're really nice. Oh, this is a great pho bar. A lot of foreigners come here. I always see foreigners here, but it's actually really good pho here. Pretty solid, because the beef in Paraguay is the best in the world, and it's the most cost effective. Like, how is that? Best beef in the world, best priced beef in the world. Like I was saying, about 4 steaks the other day. Couldn't have been more than $8. I think you'd classify Paraguay as somewhat boring relative to like Argentina or Brazil or something like that. It's great for families though. There's just enough to do with families. Like, there's a lot of parks that are decent. The shopping malls all have like arcades and play parks. What do we got in here? This looks like a nice little commercial development going on. A lot of construction going on in this main area. I don't live in this area. I live half an hour from here. And that's also why my rent is really good. There's a nice little coffee shop, Mr. Coffee. I've been there. Has a drive-through. But this is technically a really busy area right here. So I'm gonna walk you a little bit more. Give you that sense of Paraguay. So we're gonna be walking past an area that I often walk by. I'm gonna cross the street to give you a better view, but there's like a little stall right here. People are shopping, eating, having a little breakfast over there. Empanadas are like, I think, one of the most popular things here. Also what you call chipa. It's like a pastry, very popular. Just gotta fix my camera. Okay, that should be good. I go to this place right here sometimes. It's a really nice health store. Healthy supplements and stuff. There's a little design, marketing, print shop. There's a little bakery. I'm going to wrap this video up shortly. I think we're getting close to 30 minutes, but like I told you, you have to escape Canada, okay? You have to do what it takes. You have to escape the 9 to 5. Here's the gym I go to. I go to this gym 3 times a week. Golden Gym. It's nice. It's nice. It's a little acai bowl shop. If you want to escape the 9 to 5, escape inflation, escape mediocrity, and escape your country, it all begins with remote income. And you get remote income, here's a little bar, you get remote income by gaining skills. I learned digital marketing skills. I'm learning AI skills. And I use those skills to help people online. I don't work at their office, I just meet them once. Maybe I meet them online, maybe I don't, but I don't work with them in their office. So they pay me online, I work online, I deliver online. And that's where all the freedom starts. And once you have that freedom, here's a nice little restaurant. People like it. Once you have that freedom to move, you can lower your cost of living, and then you can potentially go to a no tax place. And so that's what I mean when I triple my income. I really mean I'm tripling my purchasing power. So if I used to be able to buy 10 items, now I can buy 30 without doing anything different. Whereas in Canada, you used to be able to buy 10 things, now you can only buy 5. And next year you can only buy 4. And next year you can only rent a studio. And next year you can only eat canned beans. Like, when does it end? When does inflation end? That's the problem. That's what I was seeing. It's like, when does inflation end? The dollar is dying. Bitcoin is here. It's a cute little toy store. So you can get some nicer stores here. It's a nice little home store. And I'll walk you through this little plaza right here. Via Allegra. But you can see it's pretty posh in here. I think the Rolex store is just down the road. Little fountain. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have a bunch of people coming to meet me in Paraguay in this next couple of months, which I'm excited about. And those people all found me online. They found me through this YouTube channel. They found me through my business. So my other business, I don't just help businesses grow. I help people become freelance marketers just like me. And I've helped a lot of people do that already, hundreds. And it could be you too. If you don't have a plan for remote income, oh, there's the Rolex shop right there. If you don't have a plan for a remote income yet, give me a call, shoot me an email, go to my website, richandniche.com, find me on Instagram. We've got free materials to get you started. Go to my Instagram right now, @Rich+Niche, and you can comment future proof on any post, and we'll get you a free video. How I got started learning digital marketing, how I got started becoming a freelancer. And maybe remote income is in the cards for you. And then you can move wherever you want, have more freedom, maybe have a family. It's really sad how little people are having families right now, because it's the best thing in the world. To have a family. It's a very satisfying thing to be able to have a family and live a life that you actually desired, not just one given to you by the government or big corporations. So do it. Check out richandniche.com. My mission is to help people feel this same freedom. That's all that's important. Is escaping what isn't right for you and having a life that actually feels worthwhile. Having an outcome that you can actually look back and say, yeah, that was a good life. Because right now it's not looking so good. I'm not going back to Canada. I'm escaped. I'm out. I'm done. And I hope you guys can find your pathway out too. If it's not through the one I'm talking about, keep hunting. Don't give up. I felt that nihilism before. Don't give up. Anything is possible. And Just a matter of staying focused and knowing your goals. Thanks for watching this video, guys. See you next time.